So, like, that's just. And welcome into the Rowdy Studios, where every week we take a look at this crazy-ass wild card system we got.
You know what
it
is? It's wild.
It's crazy-ass. I'm Bass Masters. That's Buzz Cutler. And Denny Hamlin suffered again at Michigan. Just like Pocono, goes to a track that's great for him and finishes like hell.
Hindsight, it's like, well, you just sit there and you want to just salvage a good day. And sure, I could have finished 15th or 20th or whatever, but I was trying to push. I'm not going to settle for running 15th or 20th every week. I want to go out there and I want to win, and I'm going to push as hard as I can to do that. So if I step over the edge, that's what I did today.
And this is letting a lot of other people in the door. The wild card chase. Brad Keselowski, meanwhile, runs third and solidifies his position. So let's go over. They're still the two wild card guys right now as we sit here today.
Right now they are, and the reason why, to a large extent, is because for the second week in a row, Paul Menard failed to take advantage of Denny Hamlin's problems. Paul Menard had a great opportunity at Watkins Glen and a great opportunity again at Michigan to take advantage of Denny Hamlin's struggles, and he did not.
He did not.
So he did not make up any ground at all on Denny Hamlin.
And Paul Menard has that one win already. So if we look at the standings today, we see Brad Keselowski in 12th with 2 wins. I think he's pretty solid.
Lead pipe lock.
I think so, unless he goes out and wrecks in 3 of the next 4, I think he's in. A lot of people, including myself, wondered after the race, hey, could he maybe just get in the top 10 and open up another wild card spot? That looks unlikely when you look at the points because he's over 50 points behind Tony Stewart, who is currently in 10th. So Keselowski making up 50 points on smoke. That is not very likely. He probably has gone almost as high in the points as he's going to go. Maybe could get to 11th, which is Clint Boyer right now.
Now, right behind Brad Keselowski in the points is Greg Biffle in 13th, which seems like he is within range of getting a chase spot. But you got to think that Michigan was his best place to grab that win and earn a wild card berth. And while he was racy early in the race and even through the middle of the race, he didn't even pull down a top 10 at Michigan. So you got to think Greg Biffle's probably not likely for the chase at this point.
He's going to have to win a race because if I'm telling you that 12th place Brad Keselowski, it's a long, long shot for him to get into the top 10. That means everyone behind him is a longer shot to get into the top 10.
And you got to think
all these guys have to win races.
And Greg Biffle probably won't win at Bristol or Richmond.
I think Atlanta's his spot. But Michigan was his spot.
Michigan was his best chance.
Yes.
I think Biffle's done.
I think so too. Now you look at Clint Boyer. He's the one guy who maybe could pass a Tony Stewart, but he's still over 20 points behind Smoke. Now, I know Tony Stewart's very frustrated right now and says if he makes the chase, he'll just be taking up a spot that someone else could use to run for a championship because he doesn't like his equipment right now. Just very frustrated. I still think it's going to be hard for Clint Boyer to catch him.
But
what these guys can all do is win a race.
Clint Boyer is good at Richmond. He has won at Richmond. He can win at Richmond.
Yes.
Now, he hasn't looked like he has been in race-winning equipment, but you know, they're going to try some stuff when it comes to Richmond. They're going to lay it on the line, take some chances. It could pay off for him.
Well, with where Denny Hamlin is right now, you realize he's only 12 points. He's in 14th, but he's only 12 points ahead of 17th Casey Kane. So Casey Kane's a guy who's won at Richmond and made the chase before.
Casey Kane you could also see winning at Atlanta.
Mark Martin you could see winning at Atlanta. Now these guys could, with a win at Atlanta, for example, depending on what happens at Bristol, with a win at Atlanta, both Mark Martin and Casey Kane could leapfrog Denny Hamlin and take that wild card spot. So with 2 bad performances in a row from the 11 team, 2 bad finishes certainly, they are in definite danger of missing out on this chase.
And you should also, I think, note that both Casey Kane and Mark Martin right now are ranked ahead of Paul Menard. So even though Paul Menard has that win, if Casey Kane or Mark Martin can pull a victory out at an Atlanta or a Bristol or a Richmond, they're ahead of Paul Menard in points.
Now you also have to look at a guy like David Reagan, who has a win, moved up 3 spots based on his Michigan finish. A lot of things would have to go right for David Reagan to get into the chase. He'd have to pass Menard and Hamlin because it doesn't look like Denny Hamlin's going to get into the top 10 now after 2 bad finishes.
More than likely, that's the odds for us is a wild card position. But, you know, I can't worry about those other guys. We got to just, to me, it's not worth making the chase if I'm not going to be effective in the chase. And right now, we need to right our ship to be effective.
Now, a guy we have all just glossed over here, who is actually ranked ahead of Martin and Kane and Menard and Logano, is A.J. Allmendinger in 15th. You got to think the cards are stacked against A.J. He's not won a Cup race. Doesn't seem like he's going to start doing it anytime soon, but he is in 15th.
You never know if you could steal one somewhere, some way, somehow. And that's happened this year certainly a lot. That's our look at the wild card. Still wild, still crazy.
Still a card.
Crazy ass. I said it. I'm Bassmasters. He's Buzz Cutler. We'll see you next time.
Rowdy.com. Say it like it is.
Say what like it is?
Rowdy.com.